start there from all riders on the front row to the hill. Rossi also with a decent start, and Vinales. It's going to be a Yamaha. KTM Tech 3 bikes, the Yamaha whole-shot device working perfectly yet again. We've not had a Yamaha 1-2-3 MotoGP since Phillip Island in 2014. It's early doors.
All right, there are the two Pramac Ducati riders, Miller, Bagnaia, who's now gone. Maverick Vinales is looking good here. He's lining up a move surely into the final turn. Here he comes.
He's answering the Ducati of Jack Miller. That would have been a nightmare. He hasn't, luckily.
Got the apprentice and the master in first and second here then. It's likewise 9 places made on that opening lap from Alex Marquez from the very back of the grid.
Yeah, saw Polisbargo.
Let's cut to lap with a race of 38.280 from Quartararo on board with Vinales.
Quartararo mullered the two Yamahas behind him. If he does, it's all going to be about a test of his concentration in these conditions. Hervé Poncharal said, did they, unfortunately? They weren't jangling for that long. They got taken out at the first corner. Cruel for him.
Jack Miller's closing in on the pair of them. They do not want
for Maverick Vinales as he sees Fabio Quartararo stretching away. Again, Quartararo in sector 3. He's 3/10 quicker in sector 3 than Rossi and Vinales.
Vinales has got to get through it. Yeah. Here he comes, up the inside. Can he get it stopped this time? He cannot outbrake Valentino Rossi.
The dream start by from pole position. Look at Valentino Rossi streaming up the inside down into the first corner. It's going to be 99 that leads the way from down. Who's come through from the second row of the grid? There's Rossi trying to find his way back through the field. He's already on the inside of a few riders. Rossi now on the inside of Long.
Oh, it's coming through there like a knife through butter at the moment. He's got the dream start.
Valentino Rossi's already picked up 10 places on the opening lap. He's up to 16th place, but his biggest fear is going to start cruising away at the front. Next in line for Valentino Rossi is number 68. Marc Marquez now leading the charge on the 4th place. The two Ducatis got a good start, up into 5th place from 9th on the grid.
Into turn 10 they come, the first of these two right-handers. There is a Valentino Rossi. Right behind, right in front of him, safely through they come. Turn 12, 13 coming up. The dream start after that fantastic qualifying lap. 99 leads the way. 99 leads the World Championship.
Over the line at the end of the first lap. Valentino Rossi then down in 15th place. He's about to move up the inside of the 2006 World Champion. Hayden will run out a little bit wide. Rossi can't find a way through on that powerful.
At the moment by 17 points. Take no notice of that. That is going to change. 1 lap gone. Pretty quick riders, but he's closed right up on them. There is the trio in front of him.
Rossi started this lap 1.2 seconds behind, smelling exhaust pipes now. The gap now between Rossi and Smith is under 0.2 of a second. Valentino Rossi has just put in his personal best lap of the race at 1:38.820. It's 0.3 of a second slower. Still has the advantage by just over 0.4 of a second.
Rossi can pick off 3 riders here. Certainly can pick off Smith Aberning in 8th place. Rossi is running 9th. Rossi desperate to get past him. On the brakes, closes up Valentino Rossi.
Through 9, this fast kick, and then they'll flick it left through turns number 10 and 11. Rossi had a look up the inside, thought about a look up the inside, though sweeps it back to the apex. Smith has another look up the inside of going through turn number 12. No way through there for the British rider. Valentino Rossi still not able to make a move.
He's doing his also as a bit of breathing space for Rossi's got to get through quickly. He knew this would happen. Carved through the early numbers, but now he's having problems. Here comes Rossi up the inside of. Listen to the crowd. You know he has.
Yeah, Rossi's been brilliant on the brakes going down into that turn number 8. He picks off Smith. That's where he took it, and the gap now 10 points between and Rossi. Are the Hondas though going to run into those front tyre issues? Right hand side of the tyre going to start overheating. We'll find out very, very shortly, because the gap to out again to just over 4.5 of a second.
Next on Valentino Rossi's shopping list, and he has to tick off, is his great mate, of course, finished second to Valentino Rossi in that rain-soaked British Grand Prix. They race down towards turn 1. Another epic MotoGP battle in front of 110,000 people. Listen to the crowd. Rossi through, who runs it wide. Smith goes through as well.
Crash here.
Still 8 points between them and then cross the line. Marquez had pulled back another 10th of a second.
Brilliant move by Rossi on the brakes underneath the Suzuki about turn number 5. So Rossi then up inside that top 5, just ahead of him on track. Still leading this race. The gap's come down a fraction by 4/10 of a second now. Marquez is trying to close that gap back. He's picked up a couple of tenths. It was 4/10 of a second quicker.
The opening round of the championship in Qatar. Little did we realise where this championship would be going. Here comes Rossi, not quite close enough. Get the drive out of here. Down the start and finish straight they come. And the gap at the front, nearly half a second between and Marquez.
One of the hardest men to pass in this MotoGP field. He's got the grunt of that Ducati coming out of turn 6 and turn number 14. He's a great late breaker. Not late enough though to hold off Valentino Rossi. The crowd go absolutely crazy in the background. Rossi then inside the top 4. The gap down to 7 points. That's the advantage that Rossi had coming into this race. It's now back down to 5 points. It's all about whether Marc Marquez.
Championship is far from over. We're not even at half distance now. Okay, we've been featuring Valentino Rossi. Now we have to look at this battle. This could be crucial as the Hondas try to hunt down the Yamaha.
Rossi will finally make it stick up the inside of down into the mid-Durham corner. This is where the championship was decided between the two of those back in 2006.
Valentino as it is as anything else, because this sort of defence is not easy to pull off.
Rossi's having compared to Rossi. This is silencing some of the doubters from last weekend.
Oh, that's a lovely yet out.
Or will he just think, you know what, you can have that second place, Vinales. I'm going to be back on the podium. I'm not going to take it in Grand Prix. Here's the battle raging for second. Is about 7-8 seconds clear. And straight away, he's been able to gap Valentino Rossi. Rossi can't relax here, been down into the braking zone for turn 5. Rossi just opening up a bit of a gap now in third into 3.1 seconds. Rossi edging ever closer to Marc Marquez.
Oh, what a race this is going to be. Looked like it was done and dusted for Marquez. Rossi is clawing back the advantage and he should have the advantage with that extra hard rear tyre. The gap again is, actually, he's just pulled back a 10th of a second there, Marc Marquez, but let's wait and see when they cross the line. Rossi's certainly got him in his sights now, getting on there in third place. Wonder what the board is going to tell Valentino Rossi.
16 completed for Marc Marquez. He's over the line now. Rossi comes over as well. 3 seconds is the lead. Valentino Rossi takes another 3/10 of a second out of Marc Marquez. Now what Marquez could be doing here, he knows he built up an advantage of over 4 seconds, so he might have just backed off slightly to try and manage his rear tyre, nurse it home to the finish. He has still got 3 seconds with 9 laps to go, so Marquez might just have eased off his pace a fraction, just to, as we say, try and preserve the grip on that rear tyre, Nick. Half a second now, the gap. Rossi almost right with Marquez as they come to complete lap 22.
Through the right-hander, flick it left over the start line. 3 laps ago and an amazing Grand Prix of up towards turn 1. Rossi chasing his second Grand Prix victory of the season, as is Marquez. Rossi closing all the time.
Unbelievable performance by the 9 times world champion through the second corner. Marquez having big moments. That rear tyre twitching as he gets on the gas. Rossi now, this is through turns 3 and 4. Rossi right with Marquez now as they power down the back straight.
Will he have a go first time? I don't think he's going to be quite close enough. We ride with Rossi. Marquez in front of him as they come down towards turn 5. He likes 7 and 8, and also Rossi for overtaking.
Marquez now, this is through turn 5, runs it over the curb on the inside. Valentino Rossi now within 3/10 of a second of the Spaniard.
Seconds don't matter anymore now, it's visual. You can see Rossi closed up down at turn 7.
What a recovery by Valentino Rossi. He said all along that he needed to race that extra hard rear tyre. Marquez gambled, he rolled the dice on the grid. He came to the grid with that extra hard option on. He thought he was going to race it, he switched at the last minute.
You can probably hear Rossi closing up on him. Rossi does close on 13, flick it through 14, 2 laps to go. This extraordinary.
They banded hard option tyre. Has that been his crucial mistake? 2.5 laps to go. Rossi now right with Marquez.
Down at 12 and 13. When they cross the line, there will be 2 laps to go. Rossi's got him in his sights. There's the track temperatures all the way round. It's a lot hotter than it has been for the day so far. It's getting late. It's coming up to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here. The sun has only really come up in the last couple of hours. Marquez made the choice of using the hard rear tyre, not the extra hard. Marquez can probably hear Rossi closing up on him. Rossi does close on of 13, flick it through 14. 2 laps to go. This extraordinary. They race up to turn 1. Here comes Rossi.
And Valentino Rossi, Nick, is dragging out back into this fight as well. Rossi across the line with the best lap of the race for him so far, less than a second behind Valentino Rossi. Marquez coming under intense pressure, his lead down to under 2 seconds. Rossi has found nearly 3/10 again through the first sector. The lead 1.7 seconds.
They race down towards turn 5. Marquez on the brakes. Rossi, that familiar big right leg goes out. It's a masterclass of riding by the master of Grand Prix racing. But catching him and then passing him may not be so easy. Dylan, is Marquez keeping something in reserve, or is he just having to ride as hard as he dares?
Well, I'm still down here with the Bridgestone guys. They're saying they're not entirely sure, because if he is pushing, then that's actually going to be very bad for him, because the tyre's just going to drop off more and more.
This is where he's so strong through that first sector. Rossi has dropped. Looks like it's going to be a shootout for the victory between Marquez and that man there on the charge, Valentino Rossi.
36-year-old. He's riding like an 18-year-old on a track bike, isn't he? Amazing stuff from Rossi. There's nothing Marquez can do at the moment. He made the choice of that hard rear tyre. Rossi said right from the word go he was going to go from the extra hard. He's got him in his sights. When is he going to have the first nibble at him? Knowing Rossi, he will go at him as soon as he possibly can.
Rossi found another 10th through the first sector on this lap 21. That's Marc Marquez ahead of him as they plunge down the short downhill to turn 7. Marquez now pitches it right, going through 7 and 8. Rossi on the ride. We said he started 8th on the grid and won in Philippines, and he started 8th in Qatar and won. He's putting up a pretty good fight to make it 3 in a row.
He certainly is.
Guys, looking at the data from last race, with roughly 5 laps to a go, this was the point when the guys on wearing tyres started to say, look, now I know how far it is to the end. Sorry, well, they know that anyway, but now they know that it's not so long, and we might see some of them start pushing. So let's keep an eye on Marc Marquez, whether there comes this point where he pulls the trigger and says, now I don't have much left, now I can really burn the tyres up.
Marquez will not give this up without an enormous fight.
Marquez holds the lead going through the first corner. Valentino Rossi hugging his back wheel. Rossi so quick through this first sector. Will he have a look on the inside at turn 2? Rossi moves to the inside. Rossi's going to take the lead. Rossi up the inside of Marquez. Runs it a little bit wide. Marquez.
We knew he wouldn't give up without a big fight. Marquez back in front. Rossi closes once again through 3 and 4. Can he get 93 against 46? Rossi on the brakes. Can he get the power up as he comes up the inside? Side by side they come. Rossi should have the advantage.
Marquez moved to the inside line. Marquez is going to make the move on Valentino Rossi. Rossi tries to cut it back to the inside. Rossi's back through. Brilliant from the Italian. This is the dogfight the world was waiting for between Valentino Rossi and Marc Marquez. We've got it here.
We've got it, big style. The talking stopped now, they're talking out on the track.
Will Rossi come back to the inside at turn number 11? You bet he will. Rossi up the inside. This is unbelievable action. Big moment for Rossi on the front, and he lost the front of
Crowd are going.